joined by Alex and Anthony, both from Old Carthusians, one of our cup finalist teams in the Senior Cup. So, gents, welcome to the SAL podcast. Great to have you on the show. For the first time as well, we're going to be going onto YouTube with the podcast. So it'd be a great experience for everyone to tune in and listen. And you guys are going to be part one of a 4-part series leading up to the cup final on the 22nd of May. So let's get you started. What your two's experience in the Old Carthusians as a club? What's it been like? Talk to us about how you got involved.
Go on, you go first. You're the golden boy.
I'll take this one first. Fanny can tell you about his checker past afterwards. The first thing to say about the Old Carthusians is we're a proud closed club, so you have to have gone to Charterhouse School to play for us. So it's almost something that we were led into by accident rather than we selected by choice. But I think one that all Old Carthusians will agree has been fortuitous and a good thing for us. Since we started, we're lucky that the league we play in isn't perhaps as strong as the SAL. So we've enjoyed a lot of good fortune and league wins and cup wins in our own circles, which is why actually we'll come on to it. But why we've loved playing in the SAL Cup and against some of the SAL teams. But personally, I've been involved with the Old Carthusians since I was 18. Played for sort of 10 or 11 years now, giving my age away. And I've skippered the team for the last 3 years. The first year was probably the best when we went through and won the Amateur FA Cup, which really felt like a culmination of everything that we've been building towards.
Cool. About you, Alex?
Well, my background's different. I was the second 11 right back at school, which was good, good fun. Our chairman is actually the son of our former coach, and I always joke that Malcolm really missed a trick there. But unfortunately, I was about 5'8", and now I'm 6'3", so it's different times. I came out of, and this is my 10th year playing for the OCs, and started off in the third team, which was good, really good fun. One of my favourite seasons, and then Ant and I have then played together for 9 years now. And yes, it's just really good fun, to be honest with you. The biggest achievement, obviously, is winning the AFA Cup. That's been great, but before we had played, all the victories had been within the Arthurian League structure, and I think that we're not bored of it. Winning is always fun, but I think we won the London Old Boys, we've won the AFA, and now hopefully we'll at least be finalists in the SAL Cup. So it will be a culmination of a lot of hard work between lots of people within a closed club to win things that aren't just sort of old boys focused. Feels pretty good at that. Yeah, I got to say.
Cool. So obviously you're a non-SAL club playing in the SAL Cup, and obviously we've had a couple of clubs that have been involved from outside of the SAL circles. This is your second season now in the SAL Cup. What gave you the interest in coming over to the Cup and playing in the SAL Cup? And obviously you're here for season 2. Are we going to see you next year?
The decision about whether you'll see us next year is not down to me, but I suspect we will. To be honest, Ant and I chatted about, and the rest of the senior players in the team chatted about the SAL Cup for a little while, because we did the London Old Boys Cup for a couple of years. And then realised that probably the competition was a bit higher. We had unfinished business with teams like Polly and West Wickham and Knutsborough, who had played in the AFA and had sort of good ding-dongs with and really enjoyed playing against them. So going to the SAL, equally the stuff that you guys do, things like filming it, podcasts, the social media stuff, the egotistical ones of them in the team really enjoy that, and so yeah, being a non-member is is great, to be honest, because we seem to get treated really nicely. And every single time we turn up somewhere, someone says, "Oh, you're going to join the league. You're going to join the league," and you feel pretty good about that, I reckon. Every time someone wants you to do something, so it's good.
Nice to feel wanted.
Exactly.
How about you, Ant? Any thoughts on that?
No, it's covered most of the bases there. I think we're both never bored of pumping the same teams, but really enjoyed the challenge that the SAL teams bring, and really feel like we're testing ourselves at the best level we can do, not just in the FA Cup now, but also getting more games against these guys in the SAL Cup is fantastic. So it's all about that challenge, and equally the other thing that is nice as a defender is having 3 officials every game. We don't always have the luxury of linesmen, and as a slow old centre back, it's quite nice to have a linesman that calls the strikers offside all the time.
Yeah, I know that feeling. So obviously the Senior Cup this season started quite late for you guys. You didn't come until the round of 16 against Bank of England.
That's right.
Before that, obviously the season started in September for you guys in the Arthurian League. How did your season start before the first lockdown? How was you getting on as a team?
Oh, really nicely. It was lucky for us in a way because we still had the Arthur Dunn Cup semi-final and final to look forward to at the start of the season. So we were all absolutely chomping at the bit to make sure we were fit and raring and ready to win that, which we went and did. A very nice day away at Bradfield School against the old Bradfieldians.
Congratulations.
Nice 2-0 win there in I think it was October.
Yeah,
it was a good day. So yeah, we were off to a flyer before COVID took another league victory away from us.
Yeah, well, hopefully we've seen the last of that. But time will tell. We'll see. So obviously coming into your first Senior Cup game against the Bank of England, you were playing away at the Bank. Talk me through the game, because from what I heard, it was a game of all of sort of 2 or 3 minutes. Everything else was stalemate. Talk me through it.
I can't even really remember. It was pretty tight, wasn't it? It was pretty tight, and then I think they tired a bit more than us. It was that first weekend back after the lockdown. They tired a bit more than us, and we were pretty clinical in the second half. I mean, it wasn't much more between us and that. And that pitch at Bank of England is so good. It's just a joy it makes my touch look good sometimes. So it's a joy to play on, to be honest.
No, it was. It did have a bit of a pre-season feel to it for a cup game, but very even game. They missed a couple of pretty good chances in the early second half, and I think they've got a bit of a track record at dropping off in games, is what one of them said to me post game, and we've got a bit of a track record for coming strong at the end, as proven by our semi-final. So I think it was those 2 things. We got stronger, and they tailed off right at the end. But it was a very competitive game until the last probably 15 minutes or so.
Cool. And then obviously you went on to face LA and Old Boys in the quarterfinals. Again, away at Allianz. It was your home game, but you played it away at Allianz. Obviously, I was there refereeing the game, but for people that weren't there and haven't watched it, talk us through how that one went.
Well, come on, as the ref, you made the big call that day. Let's hear what you had to say. What did you think of that game?
I thought you played better with 10 men than you did 11.
Did you think our centre mid who went in goal was better in goal than he was outfield? Because that's the discussion in our changing room.
He had a good performance in goal. I'm not going to say he didn't, but I'm not going to comment on players' abilities on the pitch. That'd be wrong of me as a referee. But yeah, I mean, obviously you had the red card for your goalkeeper, who then obviously went off. And you put an outfield player in goal. Then you obviously went 1 up literally 2 minutes later. So yeah, and the rest of the game was sort of pretty even. Number of chances either end. and it could have quite easily gone to extra time if the Lions nicked a goal, which they had many chances to do. But then, on the other side, you guys had, in my opinion, a number of chances that you could have put to bed and you missed out on.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good summary. I think that our goalie there was no option than to send him off, unfortunately. I'm not just saying that because it's you, but I think when the striker decides to go round him with an open goal beckoning, I think there's no real option. But I was interested to see that it was a bit of a dive, and ultimately he took the call to get the red card rather than just put the ball in the net. And so it didn't work out that well because they missed a free kick on the edge of the box, and then we went up the other end and scored. So it was a bit of a strange one, but the hospitality was great that day as well, and it was the first time that the pubs were open, and they put on a right old spread for us afterwards, even though we beat them. And I think in the game, I don't know, Ant was a bit of the old war horse at centre back. I think someone described him as, and still got that cut above your eye, have you?
Yeah, it's just recovering now. Yeah, yeah, all recovered. And actually, surprisingly, normally when you have a bit of a clash as a centre half, centre forward, you don't always walk off talking to each other, but we did, which is good. And yeah, I actually thought they were especially good going forward. Actually, I thought the front three were really strong. So it's nice to have a really good, tough battle. I like a physical contest. Plays to my strengths. So yeah, it was really enjoyable.
And then obviously a couple of weeks later, you had the semi-final away to West Wickham. I think it's fair to, and you weren't involved in that game. You was watching the live stream down from Cornwall, and you had a few players missing the game, standing goalkeeper because your goalkeeper was obviously serving a suspension. So talk us through the West Wickham game.
What was it like on TV, Ant?
Patchy from Cornwall. The signal was not perfect.
Well, no, I pretty patchy live, to be honest.
Well, exactly. You think that we're amazing. We're playing at a million miles an hour when you're on the pitch, and then you watch it, and it's sadly slow. But it was somewhere in the middle, actually. Somewhere in the middle.
No, it's good. Having being there, I think we got absolutely killed by West Wickham in 2018 in the semi-final. Again, that day and this time, we had players missing, really key players missing, and both times we've done a job on them. And it's a bit of a mystery, to be totally honest, how we've managed to do that twice. And I think we saw something they had written online somewhere about the performance, and I'd agree that this year's performance was much better than a few years ago, where we clung on for a 0-0.
Absolute smash and grab, wasn't it?
It was a miracle day, and we won on penalties again. And then this time, I think both times scoring last minute equalisers. I think I was saying afterwards that it doesn't matter what level you're playing at. The feeling when that happens, when when the goal goes in the last minute of normal time, the goal goes in the last minute of extra time, it's why you play, and absolutely loved it. But they were a good side and pretty well organised. But I felt like they allowed me in particular, but a few of us to wind them up a bit and sort of I don't know, maybe allowed us to get under their skin a tiny bit, which meant that when they did, they probably lost concentration more than they would in a normal game, maybe. But that's not to say we didn't play pretty well and probably deserved the win in the end. It was good, and it's always good. Personally, the euphoria, it really reminded me why I love football, because the euphoria of banging in the last minute equaliser and then the utter despair of missing the first penalty is it's just good, isn't it? It's just good stuff. So,
how did you feel
those things I can relate to?
It was what? Sorry.
How did you feel after missing that first penalty?
Can we talk about the last minute equaliser instead? Because I felt great after that. I don't want to talk about the penalties.
Well, I mean, it was a 6-goal thriller. Obviously, 2 of them being scored in extra time, and you score in the, as you say, the last minute equaliser. What was going through your head when you knocked that one in to make it 3-3 in the dying seconds? Oh,
it's great. You wouldn't sacrifice that feeling. Like, my wife wouldn't be happy as to the things that I would sacrifice to have that feeling every week. Honestly, that's too good. It doesn't matter what level you play at, what you do, whether it's in the wherever, the playground at school or the SAL Cup or the World Cup Final, you bang in a left foot volley in the last minute of extra time. There's nothing like it, is there? It's so good. And the winning after on penalties as well. We've got a really good track record on penalties. not so much personally, but the team has got a really good track record on penalties, and you always felt we were going to win, which was nice. And I think that's sometimes having a closed club is negative. When you struggle for a goalkeeper because you cannot go anywhere else than one of the kids who played for school, that's a real pain in the arse. But actually, when it comes down to engendering, exactly what you're going to get in terms of, looking at the guy next to you and feeling like you're going to get, 110% effort, knowing full well exactly, you've immediately got stuff in common with them. So you build up such a great sort of group of mates as well in the side. Not to say that non-closed clubs don't have that as well, but it's very immediate. And so you bring a new guy into the team, exactly what you're getting, exactly, how much it means to them, and everyone seems to be on the same page. And I think that perhaps the West Wickham game more than any other, and actually the previous West Wickham game more than any other in my 10 years playing, sort of is pretty symbolic of those, because it's, last minute, keep going, trust yourself, back yourselves. And the guy who scored the equaliser in the 90th minute is, he's 20 years old, and it's just a joy playing with him because he loves it just as much as the grandparents like Ant and I. So it's great. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
So obviously we look on to May the 22nd. You're facing Winchmore Hill in the final over at Richmond and Kew. How do you feel going into the game, or preparing for the game? Because obviously, have you played Winchmore Hill before?
We have a couple of times, I think. Okay. We played them in one of the slightly earlier rounds of the AFA Cup, the season before COVID, and went away to their place and had a relatively competitive game and ran away winners. I think Fenny stuck a penalty in to open the scoring from memory. And it was a really sort of physical and gritty performance. So I'm expecting a relatively similar game in the final that would be quite high tempoed and physical. And both teams will be looking to earn the right to play. It's a cup final. Who knows? Absolutely. Anything can happen. But like to think that we've got the experience in big games to keep our heads calm and win through. But we'll see.
Darryl, you've watched us. Who's the favourites for the final? You've watched us and you've seen them.
I actually personally I haven't seen Winchmore Hill play for about 3 or 4 years. So it'd be unfair for me to say that there's who the favourite is, as I haven't watched Winchmore Hill play for 3 or 4 years. So on that one, I'm not going to make a comment. But
we'll do our best to win.
Have you seen
what was that? Sorry.
Have you seen their striker play before?
I haven't
seen their striker play before. The only thing I've heard so far is they've got a striker that's either called or is like a barrel or both.
Okay.
So it sounds like I'm going to have a good fight with him again.
You have an interesting 90 minutes.
But if you haven't heard anything about him, you can't give me any tips on him.
No, I'm afraid not, mate.
It should be good fun, Darryl. We like the big days. They're good. We've been lucky enough to have a few of them in the Arthur Dunn, and that builds up. And I think certainly from my perspective, the the external cups certainly mean a lot. So winning the SAL this year would be really big for our club to add something else to the list of things that we've done well in. Because as we've said before, the Dun and the Arthurian League is, it doesn't quite have the same competitiveness as the SAL stuff. And I think, things like this podcast, the filming, the SAL is very modern. The way that it's administered is incredibly professional. And I think that, for us to come and win as an external club would be, certainly from a personal perspective, it would sort of vindicate the sort of hard yards in middle of May. So that'd be good.
Cool. Gents, it's been a pleasure having you on. Obviously, best of luck for the final on the 22nd. I wish you the best of luck. I'm going to be wishing Winchmore the best of luck as well.
Are you the ref, Darryl?
I'm not the ref. I'm the assistant ref.
I was going to say, you're on the team sheet, aren't you? On the list.
I'll be on the line with my flag, making sure you're all on side.
Perfect. Yeah. Just.